Western nations, including Italy, Britain, France, and the United States, have urged their citizens in Lebanon to depart due to rising tensions.
Israel has been conducting strikes on Lebanon for months to target Hezbollah, an armed political group formed to resist Israeli occupation in the 1980s.
The assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh, who played a central role in Gaza ceasefire efforts, has ignited the fire of resistance, according to a statement from the Palestinian militia, potentially dimming hopes for an end to Israel's conflict. With support from Democrats, increased engagement from younger and black voters, and women believing she'd better represent their interests, Vice President Harris has shifted the 2024 presidential race.
She now has a 1-point lead nationally.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee. And hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
No, I don't. I do not. I refuse to make you laugh. The shirt makes you laugh. Makes you want to get a tablecloth. I don't know. Welcome to my Italian restaurant. I am Guido. Would you like some antipasta? What do you think? What do you think? Good morning, you terrible, terrible people. It is Tuesday, August 6th, 2024. Rainy Sunday. It's been raining since Sunday. Rainy Tuesday. Been raining since Sunday night. Rainy summer week. It's going to rain all week. I think we're going to have our first official rain out Friday night, which is a bummer because it was the last catch, the last beach show for the Rockin' 45s. And it's kind of early. Generally, our last beach show is like the first week of September or like August 30th or 31st. Not this year. And that's a bummer. But it's even more of a bummer when it gets rained out. I always feel like the last beach show, to me, feels like the end of summer. And it's kind of depressing. It's kind of like when I was a kid and summer was over and you got to go back to school. That's what I feel like. And I listen, that nothing really changes. Nothing really changes. Everything remains the same. Everything remains the same. But for me, I don't know. It's just I prepare myself to get the blues, the melancholies, whatever you want to call them, down, depressed. Here comes fall, and after fall is that dreaded winter, and I hate winter. And then I get seasonal affective disorder, and I cry, and I get in a fetal position, and I just say, what is that? That's coming, and I know it's coming, and I can't stop it. So yesterday I was put in Twitter prison for 12 hours because I said about Gorsuch, the Supreme Court justice, that he should be punched in the throat and his wig ripped off his head. And I stand by that comment. He should be. Now yes, am I advocating violence? I absolutely am, but not lethal violence, just a throat punch and a wig rip off. That's not that bad, really, for what he's done to America. Listen, he shit on the Constitution, then he pissed on the Constitution, then he came on the Constitution, then he wiped his ass with it some more, tore it up, and he says, Supreme Court's doing a pretty good job. I like the way things are going. He deserves a throat punch for that. And his wig ripped off his head. Now, I did not mention the follow-up would be to shove that wig down his throat and then maybe piss on him. I mean, I could, but it's not lethal violence. I'm not suggesting we should kill the guy. If he happened to die of natural causes, I would dance. No doubt about it. But you know what? I'm just so sick and tired. And aren't you sick and tired of having people in robes who were not elected decide how our lives are going to be and what rights we have and what rights we don't have? And then, this latest group of fucking fascist scumbags just tearing up the Constitution and saying, yeah, we like the king. Let's go back to having a king. Fuck him. I'm sorry. But I'm back on Twitter now. Here's the thing. I understand that I crossed the line on Twitter. I broke the rules. I'm surprised that there are rules because it seemed to me that under Elon, no rules exist. I mean, you could spew hate speech. You could use the N word all you want. You could use the J word or the H word for the J people. I can't even talk now. All we have is letters. You could be an anti-Semite. You could be anti-anything. You could use hate speech all day long. You could use the F word to describe homosexuals. You could just go crazy hating people all day. But the minute you suggest a little throat punch, now Elon Musk himself every single day advocates for civil war. I think that's a little worse than a throat punch, if you don't mind me making that observation. Civil war is just a little bit worse than a throat punch. No? Am I wrong? Anyway, R.H. Holdeman is not with us again today. He still has the boat flu. The boat flu. It's like bird flu, but you get it on a boat. It might be not exactly boat flu. It might be something else that he's just calling boat flu, or that I'm calling boat flu. Whatever. He's sick, and I do hope he gets better. I think I've had the boat flu, and I know I think I've had it 5 times. I know how difficult it can be to get over, and I know it wreaks havoc with you, and you get exhausted and fatigued, and you really have some creepy-ass dreams. Anyway, well, we wish him the best and hope he's at least joins us in the chat room today from his bed in his delirious state of mind. Listen, delirious state of mind might actually improve his cognitive abilities. He seemed a little bit more on the ball, more concise, more likable with the boat flu. I don't mean to put him down. I'm sorry. Maybe I need a throat punch. Anyway, it's time for a commercial, and then we'll say hello to the fabulous Ron Kane and find out how Mr. Tongues went last night. And then we'll hear about Stephen's ridiculous ideas of what libertarianism is, probably. And then we're going to meet Renita. Well, we'll say hello again to Renita Hora, who has been on the program. She's got a book, Vermilion Harvest. It's out now. We'll talk about the book, but we'll mostly talk about the pain in the ass of marketing a book that just came out. And maybe she'll have something to add to this conversation about whatever, all the bullshit politics that we're dealing with and what's going on in America right now, even though I think she's Canadian. Anyway, you know what? InVideo is the place to go if you want to make those cheap-ass videos like I'm making for YouTube to boost your channel's likes and all that kind of stuff in video. Check it out.
Hey there, fellow content creators. Are you tired of seeing your YouTube channel growth at a snail's pace? Well, I've got some good news for you. InVideo is here to supercharge your channel growth. With InVideo, you can create eye-catching and engaging videos in a flash. Say goodbye to spending hours editing and perfecting your content. InVideo's user-friendly interface makes it a breeze to create professional-looking videos in no time. But that's not all. InVideo offers a treasure trove of customizable templates, so you can easily tailor your videos to your unique style and brand. Stand out from the crowd and leave a lasting impression on your viewers. And the best part, InVideo is not just a video editing tool, it's a one-stop shop for all your YouTube needs. From creating thumbnails to adding subtitles, InVideo has got you covered every step of the way. So what are you waiting for? Give your YouTube channel the boost it deserves with InVideo. Join the ranks of successful content creators who have used InVideo to skyrocket their channel growth. Trust me, you won't regret it.
I trust you. I regret it. I trust no one. Question everything. Good morning, gentlemen.
Trust him. Morning.
The lame-o libertarian and Mr. Tongue. How was
Ron, where's your beard?
Oh,
I shaved.
Why?
How dare you shave? I shave too. Look how
I get bored with it.
I shaved behind the ears. I did shave the chin last night. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. What was your Mr. Tongue's thing exciting and enjoyable last night?
Yeah, it turned out really good. We had audience turnout, which is fabulous for August, and had like 9 comics and then the host last night. So yeah, it was
fucking amazing for a Monday night. I have to say that's pretty fucking killer. I can't get 9 people out on a Monday night ever. And then the crowd.
We had like 9 comics and probably 10 audience members.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a good Monday night.
That'd be a room worth getting in front of.
Now, how much money did you guys lose yesterday in the big stock market crash, the Great Depression, the Black Monday?
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah. See, it's just, first of all, it really, the MAGA people are mad. They're really angry that we did not have like a real crash. Basically, the stock market is still up 19,000 points from when Joe Biden took office. But they're actually freaking out now that it didn't crash, but they're blaming you. All that money you lost yesterday, you can blame on Joe Biden. Well, I didn't lose any money. You know who might have lost money? Warren Buffett lost a few bucks here and there. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Warren, blame it on Joe Biden if you will, but it's coming back. The market is back a little bit since yesterday.
Breaking news: Kamala Harris has picked her running mate,
and
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz.
Fucking A. I like him. I think that's a winner. Now, Iran is a little upset because he wanted it to be Shapiro from Pennsylvania, so he could go. Right? You're a little upset, a little depressed.
I mean, it is what it is, and I'm sure he'll have a job. He might get offered a job in her cabinet.
Well, I would hope, because he's a first-term governor, right? I would hope he'd finish one term as governor but be active in the campaign. But I don't like to see these guys who run for governor and then as soon as something better comes along, bail. I mean, that's why people were always a little reluctant to hire me, because, like, this guy's an opportunist. As soon as something better comes along, he just fuck you and leave. But so I would hope he'd finish the job first, and then hopes he gets a second term. I do expect her to win, by the way, but I'm a little nervous. I don't know if you guys read like Rolling Stone or any of these, they're music magazines that have articles on politics, but was an article about the plan and why Trump is not saying to people, I don't need your votes. Even when he says, I'm not going to need your votes in 4 years, he's been saying, I don't need your votes now. We don't need the votes. We don't need your votes. We're going to win this election without your votes. What do you mean by that, you fucking crazy old man? Well, they have a plan in the swing states. They have 70 electors who are election deniers from 2020 who are going to refuse to certify the vote if Trump doesn't win, which is troubling. And that's just in the swing states, not to mention all the other states where they've been employing this. Like, let's get people in who are going to be official electors for the state to commit to not certifying the election, which could lead
a coup. I tell you, it's a coup.
Well, they can't. If Harris wins, they can't say Trump won. They can't certify it as Trump won. They can just refuse to certify it that she won, which would leave Biden as president still until he resigns or gives it to her anyway. But it is an attempt to undermine the elections, and there is a very troubling plan for it, and that upsets me. But I do think she's going to win. She's in the lead now, and it's just going to get worse for him. Now, of course, let me just finish that thought. It's early. There's still 98 days, and lots of shit can happen. Shit can hit the fan, and we're living in a news cycle where jokes don't even last 24 hours anymore. Bear jokes are off the fucking table. Hard cock hitting the pole vault jokes are off the table. That's how fast news changes. So things could change. Were you going to say something, lame-o libertarian?
No.
You were going to say.
Hold on. Let me get this on record. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, Grandpa.
All right.
Youngin's got the floor.
Your lips are moving.
Listen. I know. Now listen. I don't know where I land on the political spectrum. In 2016, I was libertarian, yes. Now, I don't know where I land.
You know what libertarian meant? That's my problem with you. I don't think you knew what libertarian meant then. or now.
It's it was at the time it was just a philosophy of minimum government, maximum freedom. It's what it was essentially. It was
you can't have maximum freedom with minimum government.
Listen, like I said, I'm not libertarian anymore. I don't listen. After I ran for office in 2016, okay, once I got out of it completely in 2017, I ignored it.
Let's take the ran out of it. You rolled for it.
When I rolled for office, I stopped paying attention to politics completely, almost entirely, up until Matt. When was the first time I was on your show?
1934.
It was after that first time that I was like, well, if I'm going to go back, I better watch the news in case they talk about it again. And that's, so.
And now you're a news junkie. You're tweeting me fucking stories every 30 seconds.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. I feel I'm like a 70-year-old man in my recliner at night. Just, ooh, interesting news article.
Would you guys vote for Harris? Absolutely. Absolutely.
At the moment, probably. But I'm not comfortable with voting for any of them realistically, but
at this point,
if I had to choose, yeah.
She's the only candidate in my lifetime that I've been really wanting to vote for. Like everybody else was always the lesser of two evils. I think she's competent. I think she's smart. I think she's right for the country right now. Yes, I will vote for Harris.
I mean, I would probably vote for her just on the terms of like, we've been having old dudes run this place for so long. It's time for something new.
Yeah.
We got to try something different, guys. It's not working. It's just not. So.
Yeah, I'm just tired of the bit of like, well, it's the lesser of two evils. I'm not sure who to vote for. And it's like, really, you can't see what's happening around you.
Yeah.
I mean, like guys like Mike, he can't even fight people in wheelchairs or wear lingerie, and he's so upset about that. Live your truth.
It's true, but like the crazy thing is like, I would vote, like I said, I would vote for Harris just on, because even if it wasn't Trump, it could be anybody as a Republican, regardless, whoever's on the other side. If she was a Republican, I'd still probably would have voted for her just because we need to try something different. But Project 2025 scares the shit out of me. Okay. I saw what happened when Trump was in office last time at the end of his term. The whole thing was shit, but at the very end, it turned into a damn near civil war again. Like, shit's getting crazy anytime he's involved. And we really want to plug him in for another 4 years. That's fucking dumb. It's not the lesser of two evils. You have pure fucking evil craziness and somebody who's completely outside the box of what we vote into office every time. Let's try something new.
Peter Thiel, Trump's main enabler, was making the case for another Hitler yesterday, and it goes on for 20 minutes making the case how Hitler was good for Germany, and that's exactly what we need for now. This is Trump's main financer, his go-to guy, and the guy who actually is responsible for Elon Musk becoming as wealthy as he is. Whatever.
The simple fact is, if you can't see that the one guy is just desperate for power because he's so desperate to get himself out of trouble, that's the only reason that he's running. And if you can't even see through that, I mean, you definitely identify as a rhino.
Guys, we all know why he's really running. It's because he invested his entire fortune on putting the number 47 on everything, and if he loses, it's another bad investment. He's going bankrupt. No. That's why he needs to win. Prison.
Renita's late again, and this is a reschedule from her where last week she scheduled for 10:15, but then I thought it was 9:15 because I sent her a notice that said 9:15. Mm-hmm. And then she said, no, and she rescheduled for 9:15 this time. Maybe she'll show up at 10:15. I don't know. I don't know where we are right now. But if not, whatever. RFK, now, he just put out to the mainstream media, every time you write roadkill, I will mention dirty CIA regime change wars and 35 trillion in debt. Every time you write barbecued goat, I will invoke normalized government censorship, vanishing topsoil, threatening wilderness, the epidemics of addiction and loneliness, deaths and despair, and the world's largest chronic disease burden. Every time you mention vaccine crank, I will. And he goes on. This guy's a fucking total lunatic. And the fact that he hasn't run, he hasn't given up the run, he hasn't pulled out of the race, just points out how fucking tolerant of insanity we've become and how upside down the world is. Now, the bear had stabbed. It was stabbed. It was not hit by a car. It was not roadkill. It was stabbed. According, I watched the video from the police on the day in 2014 when they found the bear, and it was stabbed to death. A bear cub stabbed to death, and he took a picture of himself. I don't know. Did you see the picture? He's in he's sitting in the trunk of his car with the bear, making like the bear's biting him, and he's having fun killing it. That's serial killer fucking shit. That's Jeffrey Dahmer teenage years shit. And this guy's still in the race. He hasn't dropped out. And there have been so many opportunities for him to drop out. The fact that he's still running is the most bizarre statement on us as a people right now, that we are tolerating this sick fuck. And
no, I think it's kind of par for the course. This always happens with these third candidates. Like they have one or two core ideas. Then once you get past that, then that's when the crazy starts coming. And then you have shit like this, or he'll come out and say we should all be able to marry our moms and cousins and shit like that. Then it keeps escalating.
Wow.
I say he's out by the end of August.
You've been saying that, but if the stabbing the bear thing and eating the bear, baby bear, the idea he wanted to eat the baby bear, he didn't eat the baby bear. He left now, but it gets worse that he didn't eat the baby bear. He wanted to frame some poor innocent bicyclist for killing the fucking bear. This is a psychopath. He's crazy. And
I seen there's a story out there that New York City's comptroller is asking him to pay up like $500,000 for all the money they put into it.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got sitting around in his Kennedy Trust Fund Yeah, you could just call it. Yeah.
And you lose points automatically when you have Roseanne Barr in the video with you.
Well, that was.
Listen, I need
Roseanne-
someone. We need someone that's going to represent women and maybe wholesomeness and maybe some sanity. Let's get Roseanne Barr.
Roseanne Barr is looking at him when he's telling the story, like, "What? Are you fucking kidding me?" It takes a lot to make Roseanne Barr to look disingenuous. Like, what the fuck? I mean,
was she sober in the video?
She looks like she was drinking coffee, but that doesn't mean she was sober. Who knows?
Okay.
She's on pills and stuff anyway.
Every time I've seen her on Kill Tony or on anything else, she always seems like she's super fucked up on something.
Yeah, she
all
is
the time.
Right. But now she had more. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, and this is McDonald's is too big to sue her, right? Like, what are we going to get out of Macadamia Nut Roseanne? But she's had Marjorie Taylor Greene on, and she was talking about Bill Gates wanting to make baby burgers, fetus burgers out of fetus meat. And she said, McDonald's is already serving us fetus burgers. The McDonald's hamburgers are fetus meat. And Marjorie Taylor, wow, I did not know that. Where'd you get that? And she said, from Q. Well, I got to get back on Q, man. I'm missing a lot of good stuff. But you or I would, you would get a cease and desist order. McDonald's would come and take our
immediately.
House. Yeah. I think it's just she gets away because people know that she's so crazy. She can get away with saying stuff that is just so insane. Remember now, Q is MAGA. MAGA is Q. There's no separating the two. All of the conspiracy theories, all of it is fed by Q. And in fact, a lot of the people originally, when Q started posting on that whatever part of the dark web they're on, people were thinking it was Trump in disguise. That was his.
He's not even posting on the dark web anymore. He's been posting on the regular internet.
I know, but I'm saying when he first started, when they.
What if it was Hunter Biden, and that's why we have it? That's why his laptop's so important. What if Hunter Biden was key?
I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Renita's here. She was with us about 2 months ago. I don't even. Were you with us then, Stephen? No, you were still just a twinkling in your daddy's eye, right? 2 months ago.
I think I was a twinkle in your eye then, maybe, but
I'm not a twinkle, more of like a itch.
We know. Anyway, go on.
An allergy bug or something. Anyway, she has a book out called Vermilion Harvest. It is a historical fiction book, and it's out now. And we want to let people know about it. And we'll talk about the book again, but more about the struggles of an author once the book is done. To let people know about it and doing all the telling the same stories to every different podcaster that wants to have you on. Good morning, Renita. How are you?
Good morning, Matt. I'm good.
Yes, we've met before. I remember her now.
Yes, you were more than a twinkle. You were sparkling that day. So.
Oh no.
Jeez.
Oh, please.
Stop it.
Yeah, no.
Too early for me to get this excited.
I think I'm going to be ill, actually. Oh, look, there it is in my eye. That's Stephen.
Yeah. There you go. Did you say allergy itch? In your eye. There you go.
Yes, that's what I said. I want to bring up the book. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one. Wait a minute. I got a better cover that you sent me. I don't know why I have that one in there. So yeah, now there's the book. And two links. Hold on. Yeah, we have an Amazon link in the description, and we have a Barnes & Noble link in the description. Now, the book came out, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it came out on the 15th of July, so just about 2 weeks ago, just over 2 weeks ago. And it's been sort of madness and mayhem. And, I'm sitting here doing guerrilla marketing because that's what it's about.
Yeah. Now, before we get into what you're going through and what the madness of trying to let people know about your work, give people a brief summation of the book, what it's about, and
Yeah, it is a historical fiction love story interfaith. The protagonist is an Anglo-Indian woman, which means half Brit and half Hindu Indian. Her lover is a Muslim man, a feisty Muslim activist. And it is their love story set against the regular struggles, interfaith, relationship and issue 100 years ago, but it's set against the 10 days or so leading up to and including the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, which was essentially this terrorist incident that took place in British India, Punjab, 1919.
Wow.
So Titanic meets Gandhi.
Yeah. So the love story part of it's kind of like my marriage, kind of. Anyway, people with very different ideologies, philosophies, but somehow manage to get married, fall in love, and get married. It's a very weird thing. Was that inspired by people you know?
Yeah, that is definitely inspired by people I know, and it's just inspired by so much of what we see. I'm from India, but I live in California, and sort of in both places. And there really is a stark difference because here in the US, we celebrate sort of integrated relationships. I mean, that's what it's about, pretty much.
Right.
Yes, there are many, many who stick to their communities, but there are so many who do not, and it's not a big deal. Like, in India, however, in not just India, the nation state, but South Asia, because when I wrote this book, the book is set in an India that is actually South Asia 100 years ago. There weren't nation states. This is a problem even until today. It's you don't marry outside your community, you don't marry outside your religion, you don't marry outside your caste, and it's still a problem even today. And why? It's, so yes, this is inspired by many, many people I know in the situation in general.
Right. One difference between India and California. In India, they don't have McDonald's. In California, they're eating fetus burgers from McDonald's.
Okay, so I'm going to correct that one. In India,
they have McDonald's in India.
Wait,
in fact, their menu is so much cooler than ours. It's really dope.
They don't have fetus burgers though.
No, but they have. No, but they have like these amazing chicken sandwiches that are amazing, and these wraps, and all these cool, crazy things.
You've been there?
No, but I watch a lot of travel and food review shows because I'm poor. But listen, it's still fun to watch.
I will not eat at McDonald's, but the one place that I will is India, because Stephen is absolutely right. The food is outstanding in the Indian McDonald's.
Wow. All right, so we learned something. I was just being silly about
watch something or read a book. God.
I was just doing a call back to Roseanne. I didn't I'm whatever. So now telling this story on many podcasts, how many podcasts do you do a week to promote the book?
I don't know, man. It's been like at least 2-3 a week. But and then those are just podcasts. There's podcasts and there's like news shows, and there's like I'm constantly having print articles, like write stuff. There's more writing now than it seems when I was writing the book. I'm not complaining, because like I said, guerrilla marketing is what it's all about.
It is part of what you sign up for, but I don't think most people. Now you are savvy enough. This is your business, so you are savvy enough to understand that before you even start writing the book. But a lot of people, especially first-time authors, don't understand what they're getting into when they first start writing. But you're not complaining, but it has to get tedious, especially like when I asked you to surmise the book. I know you have before on this program, but I'm certain you do it. You're probably to the point where you can do it in your sleep, right?
Oh yeah. It's been like that for a few years, I would say.
So now, with all that part of it, because in the other part of creative arts, and I used to be this way, when if I would put out, publish a song or something, or publish some music or something, I would be constantly checking the numbers, like an hour apart or some 15 minutes apart. What did anything happen in the last 15 minutes? Are you like that, or have you learned to have patience when looking at numbers and stuff.
Yeah, I was like that very much with my earlier books, and you do get sucked into that, and Amazon rankings and sales numbers, and absolutely. Now I have learned to sort of back off a bit, if you will, or a lot, because you only drive yourself crazy and create this complete BS stress. It is BS because, what I need to be doing, honestly, I know, crazy as it sounds, is writing not even the next, but the next to next.
Right. Yeah.
That's where my focus needs to be, should be, and not getting sucked into this. When books come out, everybody, the publishing industry, the publicists, the audiences, it's all about the launch. Oh, I got all these emails. You're going to have a launch party. I'm like, who cares about a launch party? Books are forever. Once they're out, this is not going away, So that's what you're focusing on. It's a long tail sales issue. It's not a one-shot deal. Right,
a lot of authors don't realize that too. They as first-time authors, when they get into it, they think, well, overnight, I'm expecting results overnight, and don't understand that 3 years from now, you'll still be selling that book, which is very different than, say, music, comedy, or movies, or something like that. Movies generally, and Ron covers show business all the time, and movies generally have a shelf life. And depending on how good their first week is, that shelf life could be a week. So books are very different than that. But now you work with authors and publishers and stuff like that and counsel them, yes?
Absolutely. Yeah, whether they take my counsel or not is a different story. But yes, I do.
How do you explain that to the impatience and all that stuff to them? And how does the message get through? Because so many of the authors I've interviewed are frustrated, and I find out, well, how long has the book been out? It's been out 3 months, and you're frustrated that it hasn't been a bestseller yet, and that's always like, wait, slow down. 5 years from now, that book's still going to be selling wherever it is, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever. But how do you get that message across to them?
So, in fairness, most of the work that I do is actually in story creation, storytelling, using craft, to create the story. So there's less sort of counseling, consultation, if you will, to authors about what happens afterwards. Having said that, I don't know. I've never been sort of the supreme therapist in terms of being able to explain to somebody how to be patient. I mean, I have a new puppy, and it's just like a nightmare. He's like training me, But I always give this anecdote, and this has happened before, and it's happened again, even with this book. It's like, even in a recent sales meeting, if you will, that I had with a bookstore about getting the book into book clubs, right? Different book clubs. The bookstore has these, like, I don't know, about 10 different book clubs, and all of them have different themes. And she's going through with me. She's like, well, this one. Well, this one's no good because they only read classics. And I'm thinking, hey, wait a minute. Isn't that what we're aiming for? Nothing becomes a classic overnight.
Yeah.
But the whole word classic means it's been around for years and years and years, and people are reading it today and enjoy it. And that really is the aim. So
Stephen thinks classic means old, but he's a libertarian, so he doesn't know what any
I don't
words.
know what I am anymore. Quit labeling me.
You don't know what any words mean. That's my point. Like, you could be an anarchist and don't
okay.
even know it.
Okay. Well, you're an otter, and you didn't even know what that meant.
You're right.
So I don't want to hear it.
Still don't know what that means, and I really don't want to delve too deeply into that.
I bet it's in your search history. Go on.
All right. Reviews are really important, right? I get emails from marketing apps, these guys with the latest, greatest thing that is going to make everybody rich overnight. And it's about absolutely guaranteeing more reviews and soliciting reviews for your work but it feels like it's phony if it contrived if they do that. But what is your take on using like one of those systems to just put stuff out to get mass reviews? It seems a little like propped up, fake, phony. I don't know how I feel about it, but I just want to. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about? First of all,
Kind of. I've heard about such things. I've not used them, or don't know exactly where to find them. I do agree that reviews are very necessary, and maybe I'm not going about it the best way, onesie, twosie, soliciting for reviews. It is true, or they say, whoever they are, the gods, that the more reviews you get, the better. You just can't get enough reviews for your book,
even if they're bad.
So when it comes to something like Amazon, where okay, we want to be careful about the words I use. Amazon cares more about quantity than quality, the algorithm. So I am told. I am told. Okay. So they just want to know that people are looking at the page, looking at the book, buying the book, whatever, reviewing it. Because for any author, I would think that, that is a concern. Why would the reviews be? And I have to say, I do look at all the reviews everywhere, because that thing that you just said, bad reviews, I mean, or I'd be mortified, So I'm always constantly on the watch out. I haven't had to face that experience. Like the only kind of the most negative thing I've ever received so far with either this book or the previous one is that, I tend to use colloquialisms, to keep it authentic in the language and voice. And some people just don't understand the Indian Hindi or local language colloquialism. So
people write on the internet, and I think they forget. We can lose our humanity in a way and forget that there's a person with a heart and on the other end that's going to read this, that you could be breaking their heart. It's not constructive criticism. And I think the ones that write the most are the negative ones. The ones who enjoyed it will say, great book, I enjoyed it, good experience, that's it. Yeah. And then if the person hated it, they're going to give you, I hate this person's tone, I hate it, and they'll just go on and write a book about and not realizing that they're really hurting somebody at the end, which is it can be devastating to read these things.
Yeah, that would be awful.
Yeah. I did some work. There was a publishing company I worked for that they were doing podcasts. Here's the idea. They set up a wannabe author with a podcast, an expert in whatever field they're in. They set them up with a podcast, do like 50 episodes, transcribe those episodes, have a ghostwriter in the office that now turns that into a book, and they publish their book, and they use that as an authority piece, right? And to put out there. But the trick with Amazon now and self-publishing is they put it on the network. First, they release an audio book that is absolutely free, and then an ebook that is absolutely free to get the numbers up, and just put it in their network to everybody who works for the company, everybody, all your friends and relatives. Download the free book, get it, and it counts as a purchase. Leave a review. Here's what we'd like you to say, by the way, or you can use this as a template, this kind of thing. The people are doing that to boost the numbers artificially to get it and put it in a category that is not currently used a lot. So it's going to push you towards the top of that category. And then eventually, when those numbers are good enough, then they put a price tag on the paperback or hardcover stuff, artificially boosting stuff up. It's a really tricky thing, and more people are doing that. There's lots of these companies that are just doing that. Is that bad for the industry? I would think it would be bad for the industry, not just on that they're putting out crap books, but it waters down the product so much that people stop to trust publishing industries altogether. Like they stop trusting book companies. Like I don't know if I could buy it. It's going to be the same crap that I just bought 4 copies of last time.
Yeah, there is a deep distrust right now, growing and apparent, of publishing in general, and just the lack of equity. I mean, you've got these top 5 publishers, the traditional ones. I don't want to mention their names and things, and some of the solid publishers, but they've are impossible to get into. The agents just don't talk to regular authors. The top publishers have deals with the New York Times and stuff, so it's near impossible, for anybody else to get to those kinds of lists. And why I say that is because if you are then published by a smaller house, that's great. You might have fantastic editors and stuff, but they just don't have the distribution. They just don't have the distribution. They'll put your book online in all of the online bookstores, but you're not able to walk down the street into your local independent bookshop and find your book there unless somebody went in and requested it and said, hey, please, can I have Vermilion Harvest? I want to order it from this bookstore. How many people are going to do that? But the fact of the matter is, if the book is not in that bookshop, most people are not going to see it. And how do I get to the New York Times?
Right.
It's a chicken and egg situation. Awful.
Have you done the audiobook yet, or is that in the future? Or
yes, I haven't done the audiobook yet. It's definitely part of the plan. So stay tuned. I'll be back for more.
Some of these publishers want the audiobook first. This is a new trend: is put the audiobook out there first. And I know this happened with a friend of mine a comedian who wrote a book. They by contract they wanted the audiobook out there 6 months in advance of the hardcover book, and that didn't make I understand that. Listen, we become a non-reading society where people are lazy, and sitting down with a hardcover book is not necessarily everybody's cup of tea. But it doesn't seem to it seems like shooting yourself in the foot if your intention is really to get people to enjoy the book the old-fashioned way, because it's not the same. No matter, you can listen to an audiobook and enjoy it, but it's not the same experience as reading a book. Yeah. Are you familiar with that tactic, and do you understand why? Because I don't understand why.
I don't understand why. I've heard about this tactic, but I don't understand why. I mean, I know that there are many people who will say, oh, well, where's the audiobook? Do you have an audiobook for my book group or whatever? And I do get it. I listen to a lot of audio in general. It's handy while you're commuting, while you're driving, while you're walking, whatever it might be. But I don't necessarily think it's always the answer. I don't know what the answer is, but, people read less. That is a fact. With audio, I can put it on double time, whatever, 1.75, speed it up, and get through it faster. Of course, I lose the whole intonation and all of that.
I do that often when I have to interview authors, and it's important that I have read the entire book so I have to I'm going through it as fast as I possibly can. But it's like I don't know if there's speed learning or any of that stuff that really works. But the question, because have you or the guys up on top either, would listening to an audiobook make you want to buy the hardcover book? Because I think that's probably the intent behind that, but it's never worked that way for me. I've never listened to an audiobook and said, well, now I got to go out and get the hardcover book.
No, for me personally, I don't read a lot of fiction anyway. If I was going to read fiction, though, I would absolutely do hardcover. One, because I'd like to let my imagination run with it. And I think you lose that completely with an audiobook for me anyway, because for some reason when you're being told about it, for me, it's trying to figure out what they're seeing, not what I'm trying to see, if that makes sense. Versus if I'm reading it myself, I can imagine it myself.
Typical libertarian attitude. What about you, Ron? No?
I tried listening. I tried listening to audiobooks. I can't, because I can't pay attention long enough. It'll just, it'll go on, and then I'll start thinking about other things. Then the next thing you know, like 15 minutes have gone by, and it's like I haven't heard anything of this book. So so audiobooks aren't good for me. And
my problem is I think I can work while I'm listening, and I can't. I totally. You can't really multitask. I could drive while listening, but that's it. Because driving, especially if it's like a long drive and it's one long straight road or something, where I don't have to really pay attention to where I'm going. If I'm going from here to California, I can definitely listen to an audiobook. But if I'm going from here to the town next door, I got to pay attention to the road. Now I don't hear it anyway.
Well, and there's nothing better than the smell of a new book. Okay.
Yeah.
And also, there's also something kind of exciting about when you get a new book and then you got to go home and read it. That's kind of exciting too. It's kind of like when you buy a video game, same thing. You got to take it home and enjoy it, right? So when you buy a new book, it's kind of the same thing. So, well, no, because you know, video games for you were like hitting rocks with sticks and hoops and stuff. So
yeah,
whatever.
Is there a video game for Vermilion Harvest out yet?
No. Not at this point, but I would love, Stephen, for you to check it out. I mean, it is historical fiction, and I know you don't usually read fiction, but the two characters are fictional. Their love story is fictional, but everything else is real. It's real history. So the scenes, the characters in the scenes, what happens, you know.
See, historical fiction's cool. That's actually some of the fiction I do read. It's very little, but I do read some historical fiction.
Once again, just refresh my memory. We're talking early 20th century, right? Like 1910, something around there.
We're talking 1919.
1919. So at the end of World War II, World War One.
Right after World War II.
One.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. See, I fed you that mistake and you ran with it.
I just totally, my gosh, ran with it.
I'm an influencer. I didn't know I was an influencer until that moment.
Definitely influencing me. End of just after World War One. In fact, there was a horrible sort of act. It's called the Defense of the Realms Act. That was established right after the days after World War One, which prevented freedom of speech, freedom of movement, allowed the executive to arrest people at will, you know, without sort of justifying why they were being arrested or, you know, who complained about them. Sound familiar? And that became known as the Rowlatt Act. It was put into place because they were afraid, the British government was afraid of revolutionary nationalists and what would happen if these people became too powerful and started a freedom movement. And guess what happened?
Well, we hear it's become such a cliche, but those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. It seems like it's just happening. And even with eyes wide open, people march right back into the past without giving it a second thought. Very troubling. Very troubling. And I think we saw a little bit of that in the States during the BLM riots, especially in the Northwest. Black vans pulling up to people, taking them away, not reading them any Miranda rights, not telling them what they were charged with, just taking them off the streets. Where you going? And no lawyers, no families being notified, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's a very scary situation.
Very, very, very scary situation. And that's essentially what led up to the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And the whole 10 days before it, there were several incidents, smaller incidents that actually could have become larger incidents, but were somehow, you know, curbed. But you're right, Black Lives Matter, and everything we saw in those days was exactly that. I think
I lost so many people who claimed to be my friend up until that point. So they weren't real friends. But because they were supporting that, like, I think this is a good thing. Like, it's never a good thing. You feel like it's a good thing because it's not you. But don't think it can't be you. The minute you step out of line with what the authorities want, then that could be you, and they could just come up and you're supporting a regime that can just come and take people off the street, no questions asked, you know, and that's scary as hell. And
because I'm trying to say something or express myself or, you know, something for my community, whatever it is. It's
right. And me being a dissenter on in a public like this, I tell my wife this all the time. Like, you have to be concerned about your vote because they could come and take me away as being like an agitator. Yeah. Oh, you're not big enough. You know, believe me, they don't care about how big you are. You're causing trouble for them. Yeah, they do care. If you're really big, you're first in line, but that doesn't mean they won't come and get you, no matter what. So, but that's not going to stop me.
Yeah.
Going
Man,
back,
now you got me all paranoid and shit. Now I'm not leaving the house.
well,
Thanks.
being a libertarian, I would think you'd be down
All
with that.
right.
But
Crunchy
that's
hippie.
the idea. They don't want you to leave the house because, as Matt said, if you're an agitator, that's just the worst.
Yeah. Coming back to marketing the book now, out of the box thinking. I don't know if this is out of the box thinking, but what we're just talking about, I would think two areas of marketing which are not generally like big money marketing, but possibility of just the visibility marketing is libraries and schools. Getting stuff in, because this has value as curriculum in schools, both like literature studies, English literature, and all that stuff, but also history. Even though there is a fictional element to it, it does have some historical value. So I would think schools would love this stuff. Is that an avenue you approach, or do you have a strategy for that, or does anybody have a strategy for that?
Yeah, that's the question: is does anybody have a strategy for that? It is literally, about reaching out to them, and which is what I haven't started with the schools just yet, because we're still in very early days. But I have had some reviews specifically, and some are in the works to cover the library journals, to get the book out to libraries. I tell everyone, I'm telling you guys as well, please, once you're done with this today, when you go home or anywhere, just walk into your local library and please request the book, because that is the only way, the best way for libraries to take notice is when somebody else, not the author, but somebody else actually requests that they stock the book in their library.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I feel like you know what, my library is underutilized completely. I haven't been there because I go online now. I do it all online. But even when the last time I was there was pre-COVID, and it was just like, this is a ghost town. Why are people abandoning libraries? Now I do play. I perform in libraries every once in a while, but it's still everybody in the library. And maybe this is my age or older, and that's sad. That's very sad because when I was
it must be just where you're at, man.
Yeah, when I was a young person, though, I would even when I was working at A&M, being mastering for records and stuff. On my way to work every day, I would stop at the library and pick up at least 2 books to read while I was listening to music at work. And you don't see young people in libraries anymore, and it's very sad. It's a sad situation.
Yeah, we take our kids twice a week to the library. So.
That's good. That's great.
And our local library is fairly busy with a lot of families doing the same thing. But yeah, we do that twice a week just because I can't do the ebook thing either. It's got to be paper. And the kids love to read, but I won't let them read on their iPads. So
yeah.
Very cool. Well, I definitely wish you great success with this thing, and if we can help getting it in the libraries, I would ask everybody listening right now, if you're connected to a library in any way, ask them to get Vermilion Harvest in there, and that will definitely help. And you know what? If there are any events that you have or anything coming up, please do consider coming back, and we'll help you, talk about it, because there's always value in talking about what you're going through. We don't have to talk about, as like this time, we didn't really get deep into the story again because we talked about that. But in general, just talking about your process and letting people know the book's out there, reminding them the book's out there. Links are in the description and they're scrolling across the screen. We hope you will support all the authors that come on here. Thank you for coming, and please do come back again.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, and for spreading the word, and for requesting your audiences to get into the libraries, because that would be fabulous. And yes, of course, I'd love to be back on the show anytime.
Okay.
Thanks.
Be well. Bye for now. Bye. Well, Anita Horror, folks. I don't know why I feel like I have to put like an accent on that when I say her name, because it's not Jane Smith. That's why. Anyway, do you guys deal with feedback cards? We were talking about reviews. Are feedback cards still a thing? I go to comedy clubs all the time. I don't see feedback cards anymore. They used to like leave them on the table, feedback cards. Do you do that anymore?
The club in
I see them at
Timonium,
the club.
Maryland does. In Timonium,
you-
Maryland, they do. At McGoobies, they do.
Yeah,
And you don't read them. You don't read, because back in the day, I know a couple of comedians who were devastated by, or they would sometimes get nasty back with this stuff. But the feedback cards, they would go through them and find out that it's like a review of a book. But I want to get my heart broken. I'm going to go read the feedback cards. No, you've never had that experience. This is how comedy is changing one way, I guess. It used to be a thing. I got to take the banner out.
Now they can just leave comments on your socials and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. It's was Chevalier saying the Lindy Library is always crowded. You just recently did a multi-million-dollar addition to it. I am amazed. It was my library. That was my go-to library when I was working at A&M doing the mastering. I would stop at Lindy Library. That's a good thing because it needed an upgrade. Stephen, labeling is what they do. They love to label me. No, what? Because I called you a libertarian. You called yourself a libertarian.
I used to be a libertarian. Yes.
I used to be. I used to love her, but that's all over now.
No, because I was a registered libertarian. I was,
Right.
but I was chairman of the county Libertarian Party. I mean, I was fairly involved. But
And you never knew what the word meant?
I knew what the word meant.
All right,
I just kind of left it alone. So
define it for us. Define it.
I already told you it was the literal motto of the party was minimum government, maximum freedom.
See, that's like saying.
But that's an oxymoron. I get
that's
that
like,
now.
yeah. Basically, I'm leader of the hairy bald people.
Right. No, listen. At the time, I bought into it. But again, I left it all behind. I don't know where I fall politically. My views are all over the place. I have some right-leaning views. I have some left-leaning
You're an
views.
anarchist. You believe anybody should be able to have any weapon that they just choose to have, whether it's
within
a tank
reason, sure,
or atomic bomb, a tank, or an anthrax lab. They should be able to have any of those.
No, absolutely not. But again, see, like I said, I used to be that. I'm not that anymore.
Well, yesterday you stated on this program that anybody should be able to have an AR-15. Anybody, absolutely anybody.
Because there's nothing wrong with an AR-15. It's not even an automatic weapon.
There's nothing wrong with it in anybody's hands.
Okay, but there's certain people that shouldn't even be given butter knives. That doesn't make the butter knife a
exactly.
dangerous weapon.
Exactly. So if you acknowledge that, then how can you say anybody should be able to have an AR-15 if there are people you see who should not have a butter knife?
Obviously, within reason. Like, within reason.
Well, with that you just can't leave it that ambiguous. There's no law that's let's write this into law within reason.
That's why laws are written the way they're written. I get that. I know that. That's what I'm saying. Like I said, I don't like.
No wonder you didn't win your election. Now, unlike me, who was going to win in a landslide.
I was well versed back then. I don't give a shit now. Well, I do now, but I didn't up until I started on this show. Now I pay attention again, but I didn't because I didn't care. I was just bleh.
Well, Ron thinks you should get the death penalty for your comments.
That's fine. Can we just throw me off the roof? That I can't jump off, so I figured that'd be the only way I get to.
Not a problem.
Yeah, not everybody should have a gun or have access to guns.
No, absolutely not. No, that makes.
I have a relative. I've told this story before, but it's important to tell this story one more time, 1,000th time. He went on the very day he went to court to prove that he had a psychiatric disability, and the court granted him his psychiatric disability. He went to Walmart and bought a gun and threatened his entire community to the point where it was a standoff with the police department. He had no problem 15 minutes after the court decided he was psychiatrically disabled buying a gun. That is a classic case for gun control.
Well,
and
yeah,
I have
obviously.
friends. I have friends and people in my life who will say, no, it's a slippery slope. Who's going to decide that? The court decided, and he went to make the case. He went to say, I'm too fucking nuts to work. Give me money, but let me buy a gun. Anyway, so yeah, not everybody should have a gun. Where that line is drawn, I think that is definitely a clear-cut case of where that line should be drawn. If a guy says he's too fucking crazy to work and ask the government for money, and I bet you, Mike, I don't know, I'll put this out there, but Mike, if you disagree with that, please let me know. If you think somebody should be able to get a psychiatric disability and still be able to buy a gun, does your Second Amendment loyalty go that far? I would be very curious.
I think that's a pretty clear-cut line where you
do. I want to see what Civola says about this, because he's a Second Amendment guy, big time.
But I think if you don't have that, an AR-15 is an absolutely wonderful tool to have in your toolbox.
No, what? You don't think they should be able to get the gun, or no, you don't think they should be stopped from getting it? Can you get a gun?
Details.
Yeah, I don't know what he means by no, but yeah. Let's do news.
What's the Italian hand language for details? Details. Is that it? Is that right?
I don't know. Let's do the news really quick and get through it. You know what I'm thinking? I think Alan Edwards cloned his own voice and then put it into the AI engine. I think that's what happened with all these people. They're real people that he cloned their voice, put it into an AI engine. So now they're real fake people, if that makes any sense.
With support from Democrats, increased engagement from younger and black voters, and women believing she'd better represent their interests, Vice President Harris has shifted the 2024 presidential race.
She now has a 1-point lead nationally, a position President Biden never held. He was down by 5 points when he exited the race. Harris and former President Donald Trump are tied in key battleground states. Looking ahead, voters emphasize the importance of the coming weeks. Jessica Oakley reporting.
The assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh, who played a central role in Gaza ceasefire efforts, has ignited the fire of resistance, according to a statement from the Palestinian militia, potentially dimming hopes for an end to Israel's conflict.
Hamas leaders held urgent meetings following Haniyeh's assassination and agreed on several points, including that his death was a significant loss for the Palestinian people and free people worldwide. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
Western nations, including Italy, Britain, France, and the United States, have urged their citizens in Lebanon to depart due to rising tensions.
Israel has been conducting strikes on Lebanon for months to target Hezbollah, an armed political group formed to resist Israeli occupation in the 1980s. Thousands of Lebanese civilians near the border have been displaced. After enduring a civil war in Lebanon, Hezbollah continues to oppose Israeli actions in the region. Chris Anderson reporting.
Ukraine has destroyed a Russian submarine and struck a Russian airfield amid a wave of long-range attacks on Russian targets, officials reported.
Russia claimed that Ukrainian drones also targeted an apartment building, resulting in one fatality. The increase in attacks since July coincides with Ukraine's push for allies to permit the use of long-range missiles against Russia. Western allies, especially the US, have so far been hesitant, concerned about potential escalation from Moscow. Benjamin Wright reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
I literally ain't buying it. No, I'm not buying it. No, I'm not buying it. Because I don't have the money.
Investor Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has reduced its stake in Apple by nearly 50%, according to financial documents filed Saturday after technology stocks suffered a downturn.
The value of Berkshire Hathaway's Apple holdings fell from $174 billion in December 2023 to $84 billion in June, as indicated in Berkshire's second quarter earnings report. The number of shares held by the Omaha-based conglomerate decreased from 790 million to 400 million. Lawrence Keller reporting.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer strongly strongly condemned an attack Sunday on a hotel housing asylum seekers, which resulted in injuries to at least 10 police officers.
The Prime Minister denounced the attack as far-right thuggery, as additional violence erupted across the country following a stabbing rampage at a dance class that left 3 girls dead and many others injured. In a statement from 10 Downing Street, the Prime Minister vowed that authorities would do whatever it takes to bring these thugs to justice, and assured that justice would be swift. Kyle Norris reported.
A teenage girl, 9 months pregnant, and an 18-year-old man were hospitalized Friday night after their tent was struck by lightning in Indiana, officials said.
The unidentified victims were inside their tent at their residence in Country Squire Lakes, Indiana, when the lightning strike occurred, according to the Jennings County Sheriff's Office on Saturday. First responders transported the pair to a hospital where they were listed in serious but stable condition. Jim Kender reported.
A 5-year-old boy died and another child was injured when a bounce house they were playing in was lifted 15 to 20 feet by the wind during a baseball game Friday night, officials in Maryland stated.
The bounce house was situated in the right field stands at Regency Furniture Stadium in Waldorf, Maryland, during a game between the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and the York Revolution of the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball. A second child sustained non-life-threatening injuries and was airlifted to a hospital, officials reported. Liam White reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
That's going to be a memory. Listen, nobody's killed, but I mean, I would love to have that experience just once, to be in a bounce house and get lifted off the ground 15 to 20 feet and blown around like the witch in the Wizard of Oz blowing around in her house there. Oh no, that was Dorothy in the house. The witch was coming by on a bicycle, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like a cool little. If you don't die, it's a good memory to have. There should be guidelines. I agree with Stephen. ARs are just a dressed up hunting rifle. Well, most hunting rifles you can't convert into an automatic weapon with just something you could just go and buy at your local gun show.
I think the accessory is a different story, but I think the weapon in and of itself is just fine.
But it's designed to be modified very quickly and easily.
Okay, but I mean,
now this is I get
the guns that are not designed to be modified very quickly and easily.
I mean, they're meant to add attachments to and things like that. But I mean,
as made an automatic weapon in 5 minutes with an easy off-the-shelf purchase.
Bump stock makes it close to a fully automatic, but it's not fully automatic.
I'm okay with guns, but what I love is Second Amendment people, because they're such crybabies and whiners about everything. You sit here and debate. Well, it's got to be this. It's got to be. But then when it comes to other things where the government's taking your rights, you just fully bend over and expose your asshole to get ready for that pounding. I mean, like mass shootings and shit is always a problem here. We don't fucking do anything. We're supposed to be big and bad with our guns, but then we just cry in the corner. And the same fucking cycle repeats when like a Democrat is running for president. Oh, they're gonna take our guns. Why cry? Cue American flag. Cue sticking a gun up your ass. And because the NRA is just a big lobbying group, and nothing's going to get guns.
I'm not an NRA fan.
But when guns finally get taken, it will be done by the conservatives.
You're right. Yeah,
100%. And yeah, I agree. The fact that almost nothing is done as far as doing something about guns in general.
I'm really impressed because Ron got through that whole rant without saying the word lingerie once. So
I know. I was expecting it too. I was a little sad.
Well, I know there's some enthusiasts out there in the audience. I don't want to ruin it for them.
Gun enthusiasts or lingerie enthusiasts?
Both.
You know what?
Here's the thing. I'm an enthusiast of both, but I also don't partake in using both. So
you could if you would. I mean, you would if you could.
I would not. No,
you would.
I won't.
They don't make them in your size or whatever.
But no, I agree.
I mean, the guns, that
something
is.
has to be done. Something has to be done about guns. I agree. Will that stop mass tragedies? No.
What is his name? I can't see.
There has to be a line for sure.
But all he does is call people names. I didn't hear him call people names. What did I miss? What name did you call somebody a name?
I did I?
Rhino? Is a rhino a name? Because I don't, if that upsets you. Listen, it's really hard, and don't say I'm not a Trumper. You're a Trumper. We know you're a Trumper. Stop saying you're not a Trumper. But for somebody who is a supporter of Donald Trump to say, I don't like people who call names. Give me a fucking break. This is King name caller or whatever. I don't know what I'm looking for. But he got upset over weird. He got upset over weird. He could call people every name under the fucking stars, but call him weird, and he starts fucking crying and whining like a little sissy.
Hold on. Ron never said that all gun owners were babies and crybabies. Even Ron said he's a fan of guns. That's different.
Trumper. Somebody who supports Donald Trump. Somebody who goes to a fucking parade to support Donald Trump with people with the Trump flags out on there. Like you. That's a Trumper.
To be fair, though, on the show, we need equal time.
Matt Napo, with his supple hands, is running for office. His unwanted advances on a copier machine left the Staples with no choice but to ban people with supple hands from the store.
I was always an office
and a total disregard for human life. Matt Napo used his moist and supple hands to wrap around juicy news in his community. Rarely drunk, but usually on mescaline. Matt spends quality time with big brothers and big sisters, teaching them how to bully people without those moist and supple hands. Matt will fight for your community. His growth initiation of starting bar fights to get neighbors talking.
Can't wait.
After choking out several patrons, Matt was heard saying, "If you can fight with one eye, I guess I'll take the other." So ask yourself, do you want someone with supple hands making you a sandwich? Do you want to be in a bar fight? Or do what's right and say no to Matt? Say no to nepotism.
We lost Steven. He's become a black guy. Speaking of black guys,
my name's GD.
Oh, have we heard from R.H. Haldeman? Oh, whatever his name is.
Last thing I heard from J.G. Wentworth was he was still sick.
You know what? It sucks, but I do feel bad for him.
Every time somebody on your show goes on a plane trip, they disappear and never come back. What is happening? First Willie, now GD. What's next? Ron, I swear to God, if you go to Dallas and not come back.
Ron has gone away and come back already. So
have I. So we're safe.
This is the reason I will not. I don't think it's plane trips. I think the boat fucking did GD, and he's got the boat flu, and this is why people say, and I know Chauvel has gone on one of these big cruise ships, like the one that GD was on. This gigantic, it's like a fucking skyscraper on the ocean there. I don't care how big it is. All it takes is one little cootie fucking bug loser who knows they got the cooties when they get on the boat to come on the boat and be inconsiderate like that, and then everybody's got it.
Well, there's illnesses happening all the time on those ships. You hear about illnesses, people getting sick because everyone's all crammed together. And
isn't that how the SARS virus first originally got spread, like back in the day, which is COVID? SARS is COVID, same thing. I think that was how the original epidemic of SARS happened. It started on a Norwegian, I don't want to name the brand, on a boat, a cruise ship over in Europe. Anyway, yeah. So
I don't know if I'd ever do a cruise ship, man. That seems just like a mess waiting to happen. That never sounds. No part of that sounds fun to me.
I don't know, and I guess it's big enough that you don't get seasick. But what happened? I don't know. I'm not doing it. And my wife wants to do it, and I won't do it. And that's one of the
I'll go with your wife.
That's a lot of farts and piss in the pool.
Well, who Tom Papa talks about that? He's like, these are like floating sewage plants. I mean, think about all these skyscrapers on the ocean. Everybody are taking a shit at the same time. They're all going to the same buffet, filling up on all this food extra because you're eating because it's part of the deal now, so it's free and you just keep eating. And now they got to take this massive shit. Everybody's flushing at the same time, and the fish fly swimming under the boat are like, what the fuck? What the?
I just pictured Nemo saying that, and this made me giggle so hard.
Yeah. Imagine that being one of them fish, just one of them
Like
fish.
he goes to touch the boat and he just gets hit in the face with a big solid turd. Just
Yeah, what a big solid. No, 10,000 people shitting at the same time. Huge, gigantic turds. Just not just with a turd. It's like a ocean full of turds. And it's all going to. Yeah. All right, we've hit a boat. We've hit a wall again. That's the show for you today.
We've hit a boat.
We've hit a boat.
Boats and toes. Boats and turds.
And now she wants to be known as Black.
Now she wants to be known as Black.
Dude, that was so close to. Dude, I thought I was gonna win the bet about when the N-word was gonna drop because I was waiting for it to be like, "Black people are my N-words," and I was gonna be like, "Whoa, there it is!" Oh.
This is still my favorite when it is.
You have been the best president for the Black population.
I don't hear the You cut it off too soon before the one.
What? No, you can hear it. You can hear it.
I have
Play it
been
again.
the best president for the Black population.
All right, I didn't hear it the first time. Yeah, that's definitely loud. All right.
I love that. Like,
I can picture somebody dropped a baby. Just what the fuck?
Let me just go on record as saying I think Abraham Lincoln is undefeatable in that best president.
Abraham Lincoln basically ended slavery completely and changed the pathways for Black people for the foreseeable future.
It's really hard to beat that.
Trump saved Black jobs from immigrants. What? It's not even close. Oh
wait,
man.
what do we got here? Cruise ships have their own waste disposal. Yeah, but where are they dumping it? In the ocean. Why don't you go away and do the show a favor? Who would we get?
Well, no, if they have their own waste plants, that means they're cleaning the water and they're probably dumping the clean water back into the ocean. And all the shit is in tanks when they get back to be emptied and poured.
Into what? Into a sewage plant that dumps it out in the ocean.
Now, into a sewage plant that can take it somewhere and then they can take that and dispose of it or clean it even more.
You ever think about this? There are 8 billion people on the planet. Every single one of them is shitting at least once a day.
I mean, there's 8 billion shits a day.
8 billion shits a day. How is it just not like a flying turd? A big round turd floating in space. That's what we're on.
We should have everyone flush their toilet at once, all 8 billion people, and see what happens.
Oh my God, the world would explode.
Unfortunately, not all 8 billion even know what a toilet is.
Yeah, that's true. Some of them are just shitting in holes. I mean, it's
well shit the size of your car.
Well, see, the people that shit in holes, that's probably why it doesn't really affect the earth so much, because they're putting it right back in the ground and it's just turning back into dirt, you know?
I don't know if Chabola is correct on this whale. I'm not saying he's incorrect. I'm saying I don't know if he's correct or not. Because
a megalodon shit that big.
Whales eat plankton, right? And I'm not sure they shit like they store that all up as one big shit, or they constantly, like some animals, are excreting while they're intaking. Like
I know whales only poop ever so often. That's their poop, their vomit are both super valuable for that reason.
Can you look up whale shit? Whale shit. Sure. My browser history is like gone to hell.
Christ, did a cow shit in here?
Oh yeah. What does a whale look like when it's taking a shit? There's a terrible.
Oh no, yeah, it's all diarrhea. Look at that. Oh,
Oh my
God.
God, really, it's not as big as your car. It's as big as
Oh
your.
no, he's.
It's as big as the liquid in your swimming pool. Is what it is. It's like,
Oh
ooh.
God. Okay, here. Do you want me to share this?
You can if you want to. If you've had breakfast yet, please close your eyes. If you haven't had breakfast, don't look either. Just don't look. Are you sharing it? I don't. Yeah. Well, changing a whale's diaper every day.
There you go.
See, this is the kind of stuff you will only get on Coffee with the Dog. You're not going to get this on Good Morning America or the Today Show. You're not going to get this. So
it looks like it's mostly like diarrhea clouds the size of cars, maybe.
right. So how many? If there are 8 billion people, how many whales do you think there are doing that every day?
I don't know.
And guppies and everything between whales and guppies, sharks. 25,000 gallons in my pool. Yeah. Well, see, there you go. 25,000 gallons of whale shit in your pool. Nice swim. I don't know. Does whale shit stink? No, probably smells like seawater, right? Why am I even going here? You were talking about the piece that mentioned bar fights. Did I like talk about bar fights that I was in or something? Where did that come from? The bar fight prompt. No, nothing. No. Look, I'm getting zeros from these guys.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Have I ever talked about bar fights? Being in bar fights? I don't recall ever talking about bar fights. I've been in a few significant ones, but I don't remember.
You may have mentioned, but yeah, I don't think. Yeah, maybe in passing almost.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about it the other day because it came up with one of our guests briefly.
About my thumb getting bit off.
What? No. What? Ew. What?
Okay. Whale poop. Whales flushing their toilet. The year 1977.
Whoa, that's when dinosaurs were alive. Go on.
Right. Matt Napo, young and studly and supple, was in a bar, and they were in those days they had a bowling machines. Like bowling machines were like really like a small bowling alley on a table. They actually like put the whatever it was sawdust on it, and they had like a hockey puck that you would slide down the table at these pins that would like fold up. And there was a guy sitting on one of those bowling machine tables right in front of the ladies' room. And as the girls would come out of the ladies' room, he would kick the ladies' room door shut. And he hit one girl in the face and gave her a bloody nose. And he was laughing about it. Like it was a fucking big joke. So I said, "You're a fucking dick." He goes, "Yeah, what are you going to do about it?" I said, "How about I kick your ass?" "Well, let's go outside." I said, "Okay." He took one step and I had a beer mug in my hand. I fucking cracked him over the fucking head. And then the beer mug became a fucking jaded fucking weapon now. It's got broken glass and I got a handle on it. So I'm just like, I'm on top of him now. And I'm just chopping his head up into little fucking pieces with the fucking glass fucking tool I got. And bouncer comes over and grabs me. And I go to tell the bouncer, he was kicking the door shut on the he gave the girl a bloody nose. And I feel chomp. It bites on my thumb. And he's biting hard. Now another bouncer grabs him, and I still got the fucking weapon in my hand, and I go back fucking beating on him, and I beat him unconscious. So now he's unconscious, but he's locked on my thumb with his teeth all the way in, and bouncers are pulling us apart. And I could just see the bone, and the fucking blood is shooting in every fucking direction as my thumb is coming off in his mouth. And finally, I decided to use the thing, and I hit him in the throat. And he opens his mouth, and I had to actually like take my fucking thumb bone out of his teeth because his teeth were locked into the bone and muscle and stuff. And now I got this just huge chunk of bone exposed and just flesh, and like a half-inch gap on my thumb. And Tom B grabs me. He goes, "Come on, come with me." He grabs me, he throws me out the back door, and now there's blood shooting everywhere. And he goes around to the front door, and now this guy is out. He's like, and all his friends are like, "Where's the guy? We're gonna kill him. We're gonna kill him." I'm in a car right next to him, but they're looking in the bar and they don't see me there. And he takes me to the hospital to have my thumb sewn back on. And the doctors tell me, you're lucky. He goes, human bite is so much worse than a dog bite. You're going to need antibiotic treatment and antivirals for months. We could save the thumb, but you're going to have to be coming like every couple of days for treatments because this is, you're going to get gangrene. You're going to get all sorts of fucking weird diseases from a human mouth. A human mouth is far worse than a dog bite, a tiger bite. The guy was unconscious from that shit, but he went to the hospital. They treated him at the hospital. He gets out of the hospital, decides he's going to go back to the bar to look for me. This is the Amityville Horror Bar, where, by the way, where Ron DeFeo was he went after he shot his family up. Anyway, he's in the middle of the street. They have these bars in Amityville, Long Island, and he's going back and forth between the bars, looking to see if I'm in one of these bars. Cop sees him, and he's in the middle of the road. He gets hit by a car. Now, he's already had his head chopped up severely, like with a fucking glass thing, been knocked unconscious, hit in the throat. He gets hit by a car runs over his leg, breaks his leg, and he's laying in the middle of the street. The cops go over to save him. He starts fighting with the cops. Now, he's got a broken leg. His face is already chopped up, and the cop is beating him with a fucking billy club, and he still resists arrest. This guy's having a bad night. They arrest him. His friends come and bail him out. He goes back to the bar to get me again. Meanwhile, I'm long gone. And he gets beat up by because they're closing up now. And it's the end of the night. And they're closing up. And he was insisting on going in and look for me when I'm not there. And he gets beat up a third time in the night. And then he was quoted in the paper a week later as describing me as being 6'9", blonde curly hair and a big bushy beard. I was like, oh. I beat him fucking senseless, and the cops beat him senseless. So it wasn't just me, but yeah. Talk about you don't get a bar fight story better than that one. I don't think you do. If you got, my brother has a better one, but my brother was attacked by a guy with a fucking. He beat up a guy. The guy went home and got a chainsaw, and came back to the bar. And was fucking chainsawing his way, and people were fucking throwing pool cues at him. He was fucking chopping them up. He got my brother in the corner where he's cornered off with a chainsaw, and the bartender picks up the fucking cue ball, the billiard ball, and hits the guy in the fucking head, knocks him out with a fastball to the back of the head. That's a good story too.
That seems to be like the par for the course for like the 70s and 80s of like bar fights where it seemed like it was a constant and like something normal. And now when you go out to a bar, or in most bars anyway, you feel like, well, I don't think there's a fight that's going to happen here tonight. 23
years with the Rocket 45s, one bar fight. Well, one that there was another one with a chick who fought everybody. But one that was with two guys actually getting in a fight in 23 years. That's a lot. The other time this chick, it was like festival day, and this chick was fighting everybody on the nautical mile. She was just, I don't know, she had PCP holding her up or what, but man, she was getting her ass kicked by everybody, but insisting on fighting everybody, bouncers and private citizens, or whatever. She's just crazy. But yeah, the one taking the bar fight stuff reminded me of the thumb. I've had issues with my thumb. It's the same thumb that got bit off in the bar fight. Got bit off by a pig and my father-in-law. Well, it got bit off but the pig basically almost took my thumb off. And then my father-in-law bit through the same fucking holes, the scar tissue on my thumb. So this thumb, it's 3 times and it's still on. I gotta think it's the fucking blessed thumb. This is it's a magic thumb.
Blessed thumb.
Yeah. The pig had pneumonia. The pig had pneumonia and hadn't eaten for 2 months. And then when he finally got to eating again, I was feeding him a banana, and he just kept going. And he fucking started chewing on my thumb. But I was happy for that one. But and my father-in-law was just like he was just fucking full of dementia, and he was in a wheelchair, and I wasn't looking, and he just decided to fucking bite my thumb. So this, yeah, again, magic thumb.
I've never looked at someone's hand as I was sitting there and been like, yeah, I'm all
you can still see the original teeth marks on the top. It's just like a little sliver scar on the bottom, but you can still see and it looks like 2 teeth holes right here and here.
Have you seen the trend on social media where people are having their girlfriends bite them and then getting the teeth marks tattooed?
No, I did not.
So dumb. So dumb.
Yeah, the human race is getting stupider by the day. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got any showbiz or anything? What you guys got any content?
Showbiz.
Yeah, I do have some showbiz news.
All right, let's do that. How about we do that, Steven? You can't press the button. You don't know how to press the button.
I don't know how any of that works.
I'll press the button.
And now, bringing you the latest in entertainment news from Hollywood, New York, and East Bumfuck, Montana. Here's our chief entertainment correspondent, Ron Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showbiz. Showbiz.
Show. Oh, what is that? It's like a half pig, half human, half weird fucking thing.
Yeah,
what is
showbiz, everybody? It's Taco Tuesday, so
our little sister.
Yeah, so moisten up that tongue and stick it into a taco today. Yeah, that picture is from like some exhibit of nature and human existing together.
Oh, I think I've seen some of these pictures before. They're kind of gross.
Yeah, they're kind of weird, but it's showbiz, everybody. So yesterday we talked about Zac Efron and how he had an incident at his pool, but apparently the incident was he dived into his pool, hit his head on the bottom, swallowed a bunch of water and into his lungs and stuff, so he had to go to the hospital.
Now, in this image that we're looking at, PowerPoint is distorting it and making him look like a wide head, right? He's not stretched out.
I stretched it out on purpose.
All right. Now,
he almost looks like that now with his new jaw.
Oh. This is the guy you described as hot body yesterday. I know Zac Efron. The picture didn't look like him yesterday. I don't know. He just looks different than he was a young buck in movies. He's kind of getting older now, right? He's got to be like 40, right? No?
Is he aging
like fine wine?
Yeah. Is he aging out for you, Matt?
Yeah. That's probably why I didn't recognize him. But when you said guy with a hot body, I mean, you did say hot body.
You immediately thought of him when he was 17. It was like,
Right, nobody keeps a hot body when they get older. Why are we crying? Don't cry. There's no reason to cry. Now, why does it say swallowing it there? What did he swallow? Water?
Yeah, a whole bunch of water. So he was swallowing.
Well, you never know. It could have been whale shit.
Jeez, Matt, where were you at this whole time? Jeez.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Swallowing could be anything, man. Listen, I come from a long line of spitters. Followers.
Spitters and swallowers.
Wow. You know, the fact that you come from one of those two. Ew. Oh, wait.
Heidi Klum and Tommy Chong? Or no? Are you?
Now, Heidi Klum put this out yesterday. She's obviously topless. This is her man that she married 5 years ago. They married in 2019. It's her 5-year anniversary. She's 51, and I believe he is 36. So,
good for him.
Good for him and her. So, she's still banging, and she's been married now for 5 years.
You say she's obviously topless. I see clothes on her. No, I don't see clothes. Or is she not?
She's got a bottom on, but she is topless in this picture.
You promise?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't show nudity on Instagram. So.
Oh.
Hold on, I gotta hit B. So we need to make a short on that. I just want the reel to end with promise.
Wait, you're saying you can't show nudity on Instagram? I've seen nudity on Instagram, but you'd also tell me there's porn on Twitter. I have not seen porn on Twitter, but now you tell me there's no nudity on Instagram, and I've seen nudity on Instagram. Why is everything backwards for me? I live in bizarro world from you. Everything is.
You can get some nips. You can get some nip slips on Instagram and things like that. The big thing right now on Instagram that I'm seeing is that you'll have a thirst trap. She posts like a reel, and it's just her in front of a mirror. Then there will be a quick overlay of her like in something sheer or maybe topless, and it just pops up for like a 1/10 of a second or something like that.
Right. For you people who are on Instagram right now, you can join us on YouTube anytime you want. We're there every morning. You don't have to watch this like squished down version that you see on Instagram that I'm looking at right now. Good to see Mike Vigiani over there. Mike, join us on YouTube, dude. Come on. Come on. House of Dragon Season 2.
Yeah, so this show wrapped up its Season 2 finale, and it brought in 7.8 million viewers, but it's slightly down from the first season. So it still amazes me that people will, they're still go to watch one show together. And so you had almost 8 million people watching this at the time that it premiered. So
on what? Netflix? Is it Netflix?
No, this is HBO.
HBO. Damn. You got to have all these fucking different subscriptions and stuff. All I have from my cable company is internet. That's all I have. I don't have any. I mean, I subscribe to Netflix on the internet, but Jesus, man. So
every one of my streaming services I have are either steeply discounted or included in another package. Like I got Paramount through Walmart because we use Walmart delivery service to get our groceries. I have Netflix at like $4.99 from Black Friday last year. I have Hulu for $3. Like all these Black Friday deals I have. But without it, I'd be spending like $200 a month just on
what is your total spend? Do you know? Or you do them all in each like $4.99, $3.99 drips. Do you total it up?
My wife does our family budget and everything, but if I remember correctly, I think it comes out to like $23 that we pay total for all of our streaming services.
Wow, that's amazing.
But all Black Friday deals though. Like I said, Hulu, we get Hulu for $2.99. We have Peacock for $2.99.
Say that again.
For $4.99. Yeah.
Say that again.
Oh,
Peacock.
Peacock.
Actually, I heard they're gonna do the HBO Max thing, and they're gonna shorten it just to cock. So.
Now this is on top of your. This is on top of your broadband expenditure, right? You have to pay for a cable bill first on top of all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
How much?
I spend more on video games than I do on Netflix. Or
I'm just trying to get to a whole. How much is this entertainment costing you every month?
Oh, entertainment total. Let's see. I $125 for internet. $18 for Xbox Game Pass. $18 for PlayStation Network.
You know what we should do is
it's around $150 for every.
Wow.
About $170 for everything total a month.
What can we do, Ron? What are you saying we could do?
I'd say it would be fun for everyone to bring in like their costs of what they're spending a month on entertainment, whether streaming and shit like that, and video games.
Well, gather around, children. Gather around, children. Let me tell you a little story.
I was gonna say this month's different too because I also bought a new game this month. That was $70. I bought NCAA college football.
This is where your tax dollars are going to this fraudulent fucking fake disability stuff. You were
No,
buying
no.
you were buying deadbeat libertarians. You were buying them fucking video games.
No,
How do
for
you
the
feel?
record, my brother bought it for me, and he works at a bank. So,
Oh, he works in a bank. When back in the day when we used to walk 7 miles each way to school and
Yeah,
back, and uphill both ways in the snow, we had free TV and 3 stations with an antenna, and most of it was your father sticking tinfoil up your ass and making you stand like a statue.
I grew up during the cable and satellite era, so like we had growing up, we always had like 200-300 channels between like having cable or satellite. And I know my
Long
parents
Island
spent
was not
anywhere from
familiar
100
with
to
those
200 a
huge
month.
before the small dishes that you had on your roof. In the Midwest and outside of New York, people had these gigantic fucking
Oh yeah.
satellite dishes in their backyards and stuff. Most
Yeah, my
where I lived,
stepdad had one, and it
My
was
uncle had one.
it was horrible. Those things
Yep.
were shitty. You had to
yeah.
if you didn't have the motor, the fancy motor, you'd have to go out there and like one person is moving the satellite to whatever, part of the sky you're supposed to move it to, and yeah.
Yeah. And
Yep.
I remember my ex-wife's stepfather in law or whatever, stepfather. He had one of those. He lived in Virginia, and there was a guy who figured out a way to broadcast his own like 24-hour signal out there. Had his own like station. I always thought, well, that's cool. I wonder how you do that. What's the cost in that? I never figured it out, but that was my plan back in the 80s when I found out about that. Oh, you could broadcast your own signal to space and have your own. All right, we're moving on from House of Drag to this guy who looks confused.
Yeah, so there is a documentary. I still haven't found the release date. I guess it's out now or it's getting ready to come out. It's called War Game. And the documentary takes a look at it's like it asks us what if the events on January 6th were just like the tip of the iceberg? What if a more dangerous turn of events is yet to come in the wake of the contested 24 presidential election? What if some faction of the military chose not to follow the chain of command? What if our elected leaders haven't done enough to prepare to defend democracy? The co-directors of War Game are Jesse Moss and Tony Gerber. They are in our studios. This is an interview, but that is essentially what this documentary is about.
Documentary, so it doesn't take any fictional liberties, but it does pose hypotheticals, right? It
Correct.
sounds like yeah. So that's not technically not a documentary. It's more, I don't know, expose or something like that. But something I would be very interested in. But I'm afraid that if I watch it, I will become a paranoid. Just I'm already on the edge about where we're going with this stuff. As I mentioned earlier in the program, this thing about the fake electors that they have lined up concerns me to the point like there is nothing legally we can do about it other than Biden using the powers that the Supreme Court gave him to just declare the election null and void. And you know what? I'm president and I'm resigning and giving it to Harris. There's nothing short of that he can do if these fake elector scheme just decides to, we're not fucking certifying the election. Where do we go from there? And I am certain that Trump doesn't win, and I don't think he will win, but if he doesn't win, I'm certain that there will be some violence from his minions and the fucking people we see just who don't fucking who can't accept of any of the absolute realities that this man is just fucking using them. And the Ashley Babbitts of the world, the people who were willing to die for him, there's lots of them. There's millions of them. And I'm very concerned. And I think watching this would leave me sleepless. And I'm already fucking sleepless. So
Yeah, I something bad could happen, and then that asshole will be on TV like, "Oh, it wasn't me. I didn't have anything to do with it," because he can't accept the responsibility and doesn't have a backbone. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely I want to check it out. I'm gonna find out some more about it because it does seem like an interesting movie to watch.
It's
And
on Netflix.
no, I haven't been able to find out where the fuck it is. Like I was just trying to get the release date.
Let me look. Maybe I can find
Yeah,
it. But yeah, if it's not on
check
Netflix, I can't watch.
IMDb.
Oh wait, no, I have Amazon Prime too. Yeah, yeah. You know what? War Games comes up. Fuck that Matthew Broderick shit. I'm surprised they haven't done a remake of that.
Fuck that Matthew Broderick shit.
It says coming soon, release date this Friday.
War Game Film official website. Yeah.
Rated
All
R
right.
starts Friday.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I definitely. It sounds like again something I'm be interested in, but also something that will fuck with my head. Too bad.
Can we get that made into a shirt?
Well, it's a lot of words.
Fuck that Matthew Broderick shit.
Oh yes. I don't know. I think my shirt distributed at whatever Tees and Things. I don't think I could put fuck or shit on there. I don't know.
Oh.
What is this? This is somebody making. What is that? Brownie mix, chocolate cake mix, and chicks coming out of it with boxing gloves on or something. Well, what the fuck am I looking at here?
And that's a bowl of pudding.
Pudding.
That's not. That's marinara, sir.
Yeah, and so the prompt. What the fuck was the prompt? It was because I know the conservatives are wound up about that female boxer and like they want her to be a man for some reason, just like the same way they crash Grinder. You know, that type of shit that they're into.
Oh.
Yeah, so that that was for them.
So what? But how does the pudding? Where does the pudding come into this whole discussion of?
Let's see. I put man boxing a giant woman as he hides in a bowl of pudding, and this is what it.
Wow.
Hey, we gotta say goodbye to Govs.
Oh, bye, Govs. Yeah, go. You know what? I got to get in touch with Tony and